Hello, welcome to my channel, Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and I am here to do the birth year tag created by CriminOlly. And to help me do this tag is a little foster kitten named Morticia. She is not going to remain a foster kitten very long because she's going to be adopted very soon by someone I know. Okay, you can go down. This tag has 5 prompts. The first prompt is, have you read any books published in the year you were born? Yes, I have. I was born in 1964. Sub-question. If so, what's your favorite and why? My favorite is going to be Sometimes a Great Notion by Ken Kesey. Ken Kesey is more famously known for his first novel, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But this is a story of logging in Oregon. And it is a fascinating story of brothers owning a logging organization. And just the way the story is told is very stream of consciousness. There's many narrative shifts and point of view shifts, sometimes within a paragraph. Now, I listened to the audiobook and didn't read the paperback, but one of these days I'm going to reread this as a paperback. Second sub-prompt. Do you have any other favorites? Well, Jim Thompson's Pop 1280. This is just a fabulous crime noir novel. It has a very neat ending. I don't remember a whole lot of the plot other than when I got to the ending, I went, wow, that's a cool ending. Another one that I really liked was The Passion According to G.H. This is a novel translated from the Portuguese. It is a sort of an experimental novel. Do not read this book if you're squeamish about insects. And the third sub-prompt, if you haven't read any birth year books, which one do you pledge to read in the next 6 months? And why have you chosen it? Well, I have read books, so I can opt out, but I'm not going to opt out. I am going to pledge to read a book written in 1964 within the next 6 months. So let's not count February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So by the end of August, I have to select a book published in 1964. Top contender right now will be The Martian Time Slip by Philip K. Dick. A second contender will be Julian by Gore Vidal. And I had a third one written down there. What else do I want to read? Yes, Herzog by Saul Bellow is a possibility. And the last one will be The Deep Blue Goodbye by John D. MacDonald. So one of those books I will read by August of 1964. And I guess I have to set sort of a punishment for not doing that. If I don't read one of those books, I will do the 100 book challenge again. So CriminOlly, if you're watching, you're going to have to take out your pens and mark it down for the end of August. I might have to do your challenge again. Question number 2. Have you read any books published in the year that you turned 18? Yes, I turned 18 in 1982. There's a lot of books that I read back then. My favorite is going to be The Path to Power by Robert A. Caro. This is the first volume in his biography of Lyndon Baines Johnson. And no one does biography better than Robert A. Caro. The Power Broker is one of the greatest biographies I've ever read. That was Robert Moses, the builder in New York. But the story of LBJ is just as fascinating. This book is extremely detailed, just the way The Power Broker was detailed. He goes on for pages and pages describing why women in Texas in the 30s were hunchback. And they were basically bowed over. And that's because they had to draw water from the well. They had to pull up like 10 gallons of water per day and take it back to their houses, which were often not all that close. So just imagine carrying buckets of water every day. And that just bent the women over like that. And he went over that in detail because he wants to strike home just how devastating it was not to have electricity. And that's the reason why they did not have electricity. And LBJ was the most important person for bringing electricity to rural Texas. Another one that I really liked was Blue Highways by William Least Heat Moon. And this is a story of a man traveling around the country in a van and a banana slug. Well, not a whole lot about a banana slug, but there is a banana slug involved in this book. You'll have to read it to find out why. All right, and prompt number 3. Of the last 10 books you read, how many were published before you were born? Now, I am taking this strictly as books that I read and no audiobooks. So, the 10 books that I read were More Than I Love, My Life by David Grossman, 1921. No. Swords and Deviltry by Fritz Leiber. I'm going to count this technically as a yes. There are 3 novellas in the book. One was published in 1962. The other 2 were 1970. So I don't know if I get half credit, but since one of them was published before I was born, I'm going to count that. 1. Mother Night by Kurt Vonnegut, 1962. J.R. by William Gaddis, 1975. That's a no. The Odyssey by Homer. Yeah, before I was born. Lee by Tito Perdue, 1990. Nope. The Postman Always Rings Twice, James M. Cain, 1932. That's a yes. Caligula by Albert Camus, 1940s. That's a yes. The Stranger by Albert Camus, 1940s. That's a yes. And Looking for the Stranger by Alice Kaplan, and that was 2014. That's a no. So that is 6 books that I read before I was born. And the sub-question is, what were they? Did you prefer them to the newer books? As a whole, in this set, I absolutely preferred those to the newer books. The only newer book that was really great was J.R. by William Gaddis. That's a hard one to beat, but all the rest, the older books are much better. I do find I have a preference for older books. Some of the more modern books just don't captivate me as well as some of the older ones. Prompt number 4. What's your favorite movie from your birth year and why? Okay, the one that I should say is my favorite is Dr. Strangelove, because that is just a fabulous and magnificent and very, very altering movie. It is a great movie, but I don't think it's my favorite movie. My favorite movie is one that I saw on television. Now, when I was growing up in the suburbs of Maryland, they had a Money Movie 7 every day after I got out of school, and they just showed old movies once a week, and they always had themes. And I always liked the horror theme weeks or the science fiction theme weeks. And one movie they kept playing over and over again was The Creeping Terror. Now, The Creeping Terror, if you look on Wikipedia, is supposed to be one of the worst movies ever made. But it is about a giant slug-like alien going around a small town in California and eating people. It's just fabulous. And the special effects are laughable even for the 60s, but I'm going to go with The Creeping Terror as my favorite movie from the 1964, just because why not? Prompt number 5. What is your favorite movie from the year you turned 18 and why? There are 2 strong candidates for this. Well, first of all, let me get out the candidate that most people would say be my favorite, and I dislike Blade Runner immensely. So, the two candidates for favorite movie of 1982 would be The Thing. That is the John Carpenter remake of the 1950s movie, or Cat People. Now, The Thing had some great special effects and some pretty good storyline, and it was a pretty good horror science fiction movie. Cat People had lots of issues in it, but they had a naked Natasha Kinski. I'm going with cat people. And that is the end of the prompt, but I have to tag people. And you're supposed to tag 5 people, 1 for each decade you've been alive. So I am going to tag Brian at Bookish, Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics. I am going to tag Mark at Book Times with Elvis. I am going to tag Jim at Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff. And I will Jack the Rambling Raconteur. I'm not brave enough to challenge to tag any ladies because they may not want to say what decade they were born in. So I'll be a gentleman and not ask. And that is the end of the tag. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.